Hello and welcome to the Half Sword Championship. I'm your host Meme Slice. Let's take a look right away at the top 5 pound for pound rankings. And number 1, your new champions, the Dark Knights, which means the Baron and the Men-at-Arms have dropped down. But let's get straight into the first fight. We've got here the Poitiers Pokers versus the Pokey Blinders. That's right, it's a poke on poke fight. Here we have the Pokey Blinders, who all had a wrestling match backstage. As you can see, they're severely bruised. I've told them I don't know how many times that they need to stop fighting before matches, but they just refuse. And allegedly they can't pronounce Poitiers, but to be honest, I don't know what they can pronounce. And on the other side here we've got the Poitiers Pokers, who are disappointed in their debut, but they said they had a lot of fun and they're just here fighting for the love of the game. They're excited to make their second match. If you remember in that first one, they had a great showing early on. They just didn't manage to get enough damage done. Let's see if they can rectify that here today. Both sides coming out, the spearmen charging forward. There are just so many of the Pokey Blinders, so they just swarm around you, they surround you, and if they get in close, if they get their slashes off, it's over. But it looks like one of the Poitiers Pokers was just manhandling one of them, lifted one of the Pokey Blinders off the ground there. We can see a good bit of damage going on to the Pokey Blinders so far. One of the Poitiers Pokers have been stabbed. Seems to be doing alright though. They're using that spear in a half-sword position to just push back the horde that's coming onto them. One of the pokers taking on a couple there. It looks like one of the blinders is down already, a good stab there. You can see a lot of blood coming out of the Pokey Blinders. And you can see a lot of blood leaking from the Pokey Blinders. It looks like that one I thought was down got up, but another one has since gone down. Might be another down here. This is a very tense fight so far. He's just taken down 2 at once in a single swing. He just cleaves through, taking down 2 of them. And after he does it, he charges forward to make sure that one's down and just knees him in the face and puts him in the dirt. There is now only 1 blinder left, and I was about to say a second ago that the spearmen have taken quite a few stabs and you can see the blood on them, and that's a brutal stab to finish it off. The Poitiers Pokers have had a much better fight this time. We feel bad for the Pokey Blinders who took a tough loss there. Anyway, into the second fight, we have the Berserker versus Edward the Squire, and this match was voted for by you guys in the poll. So if you're not checking out the post, make sure you do, because you could get the chance yourself to pick a fight. And here we have Edward the Squire. And he is still a Squire until he has been promoted by the Baron, which is why he's still using that candlestick. And on the other side, we have the Berserker. He's back again. He's not had a great run in the Half Sword Championship so far, but he has been practicing every single day for this chance. He hasn't fought in a while. That's not because of inactivity. That's because he's been in the kitchen cooking. And his biggest issue so far has been that he's not able to properly lift and swing that massive sword. And to be honest, looking at him, he hasn't put on much weight. He doesn't look like anything will be different in that regard. But let's see what's changed. Now my big worry is that because of how slow the Berserker is swinging that massive sword, that the candlestick of Edward is going to be able to just block, parry, and then counter very easily. As you can see, Edward is really fast with that thing. He's also very quick on his feet despite the armor. He lands a nice hit to the head there. No, I've got to say the Berserker is looking a little sluggish so far. It's just the speed at which he lands when he does isn't great. Okay, he's throwing nice there. Not finding the range so far though. If the Berserker's throwing well, he does have a great range advantage, compared to the candlestick at least, but I just think with the speed he's throwing at is giving Edward the chance to get in close. Neither side finding their momentum so far. No one's landed any great hits. Edward getting him up against the fence there, but he gets turned. Some blood came out of the Berserker there. That's not a good sign for him. Ooh, the candlestick just got in behind the grip of the sword there. Doesn't manage to do much with it though. Now it looks like Edward is taking a very defensive stance in this fight. He's standing very far back. I think naturally he's probably very intimidated by the size of that thing, but he's got to be more aggressive here. He doesn't seem to have been under much threat so far, so if I was him, I would be charging forward, getting past the tip of that sword, and if you get that close to him, the Berserker doesn't have much chance. He lands to the head there though, and it looks like Edward stumbled for a second. The Berserker just switched into half-stalling stance, and he looked a lot faster when he did that. I'm not quite sure why he wouldn't do that more, if that's the case. Let's see if he does it again in this fight so I get a chance to show you what I mean. Great blocking by Edward there. As I was saying, that candlestick with its wide opening at the end is really good at blocking and parrying blows. Especially on something as slow as a Berserker's sword, he has a really good chance of just stopping him before he gets close. Lands nice to the head there. You saw the Berserker go into half-swording for just a second. I wish he would give it a longer chance. Looked like he's gone back in there and then back out again. Doesn't seem really too sure what to do. Just landed a bit to the body. But just with this... Okay, that was some faster swings there. It just seems like the Berserker's quite inexperienced in the way he fights, which is strange considering he's had a few fights now, but he's just not getting the hang of it. I still do think he has a great chance here. I mean, if that sword lands where it has to land, it's gonna do insane damage no matter who's on the other side of it. He just needs to get that blow in. But for Edward, he needs to be more aggressive here. I want to see more pressing forward, more pressure being put on the Berserker. And it looks like he took a blow to the foot there. He's now compromised in his movement, which is a massive issue for him. He can't just back up and get back in anymore. He can't dart in and out like he has been. But he's getting in close, and that's exactly what he has to do. Put the pressure on the Berserker like this. Get him up against the fence, that's it. Berserker manages to circle out and land a strike of his own. Now I have to say, compared to the other Squire, Edward, a massive slice to the face! It was a massive cut that makes it just underneath the helmet and cuts right across his face. He seems to still be in the fight. He's stumbling. That was an insane blow. That is exactly what the Berserker needed, and now he's feeling it. He's tasted blood and he's pressing. And he's pressing forward. He takes a second to back off. That was a massive hit. And Edward is still stumbling. He's still not recovered from that hit. What an unbelievable blow. That was perfect accuracy to find its way in that tiny gap. And with such a big weapon, he's dropped the candlestick. Edward has now pulled out his sword. Is this allowed? The reason he was using the candlestick is because the Baron had decreed that until he becomes a knight, until he proves himself, he has to use the candlestick. But he's now pulled out his sword. I have no idea what the Baron will say about this. He is going to be severely disappointed either way. This is a catastrophic outcome for Edward, who probably thought this fight would be relatively easy given the record of the Berserker so far. But I think Edward still, even though he's got his sword out now, is just not showing the aggression. The other Squire, Louis, in all of his fights so far, has been absolutely on top of the opponent. What's happening to the Berserker here? He's got confused with something. He's just hit his back. Is Edward going to take advantage? He's dropped the sword. One strike from the Berserker into the hand of Edward and he's dropped his sword. He's now pulled out a dagger, which is absolutely going to do nothing. I can't believe it. It looks like the Berserker is going to win this fight. Another strike to the head. You see the blood come out. It's really not looking good. Another one, and he goes down. The Berserker goes in and twists his knee into him to make sure he goes into the floor. Is he going to be able to get up? It looks like he hasn't dropped the dagger yet. He's still in the fight. Another blow, and he goes down again after trying to get up, and that is it. Edward has given up. Wow, what an awful showing from Edward. What a great showing from the Berserker. Incredible, and we're on to our next fight. We have the Bald Beast versus the Axe Murderer. It's axe-on-axe warfare, and we're going to see if the Bald Beast can keep up his good form from his first fight. And here he is, the Bald Beast. He had a great showing in his first fight. He looked incredible, a lot better than the other veterans that have fought in the Half-Sword Championship so far, but his lack of helmet armor is going to be an issue. We have the Axe Murderer here. He is an incredibly aggressive fighter. He's taken a few losses, but they were against top-tier opponents, and I think if he can find that gap right on top of the head of the Bald Beast, it's going to be game over. The Bald Beast has to put on a clinic here. He has to be so defensively precise to avoid that hit. And he lands already a great hit to the Axe Murderer. You saw the blood come out there, and that was close. The Bald Beast has to be so fast on his feet. He has to be so defensively clean to avoid one tap on the head, and he's just done. The Axe Murderer, he's been close a couple of times already. The Bald Beast keeping his distance. Both sides looking good so far. He's landed it! A beautiful strike from the Bald Beast, right into the neck, right between the armor. You saw the Bald Beast standing back, calculating, maybe gauging the range, and as soon as the Axe Murderer tries to come in, he feints an overhead and twists to the side, getting in that gap on the armor, and in one strike, basically the first strike of the fight, the Axe Murderer goes down and the Bald Beast has won. What a fight, what a showing from the Bald Beast, who continues to look great. Next up, we have Louis the Knight versus the Men-at-Arms. Now this is not the three Men-at-Arms as they usually fight, as this Man-at-Arms specifically said he doesn't need his friends for this. He wants a title shot, and he thinks if he takes out Louis the Knight on his own, that'll be enough. And here's Louis the Knight. He thinks that the fans love him using the candlestick, and he's going to continue doing it to humiliate his opponent. He despises the Men-at-Arms. He thinks they are all cowards. And let's see how this goes. Now, obviously, there is a massive advantage to the Man-at-Arms. They have very similar armor. The difference between them is that polearm, which the Men-at-Arms are incredibly skilled at. Let's see if Louis is able to do anything here. The odds are against him. But he's hoping that a win would really show his skill and his difference between him and the other fighters in the Half-Sword Championship. He looks wobbled there. I'm not sure, they were grappling pretty close. I'm not sure if there was a clash of heads or what. Looks like the Man-at-Arms struggling to lift his polearm here. Both of them seemed a bit stunned after that encounter. Don't know if that was a great 1-2 from Louis there, and the Man-at-Arms is absolutely wobbled. Candlestick seems to be a bit stuck there. It's all okay, he seems to have recovered it. Louis is being very aggressive here, throwing a lot of strikes early. The Man-at-Arm for his part is trying to keep him at range. He pushed him back there. Let's see if he can continue doing that. And the Men-at-Arms, they are incredibly accurate with their polearm. Many times they have found the tiniest of gaps in armor against people like the Baron, the Dark Knights, the best in the game. But he hasn't really had a chance to swing properly yet. Louis the Knight has straight away backed him against this fence and just keeps on pressing forward, applying the pressure over and over and over again. I mean, Louis the Knight has to be maybe the most aggressive fighter we have on our roster. He is incredibly violent. He just loves pressing forward, getting into the thick of it. Man-at-Arms has managed to get himself away, but he takes another hit there. As he came back in, he should have kept his distance. He takes a strike as he comes in. He seems to have recovered again, but he can't keep fighting against this fence. Louis is using the architecture, the environment to his advantage incredibly. By standing right next to the fence, it means that the Men-at-Arms can't get a full swing on his weapon. It keeps catching on the fence. Again there. He's just not managing to get... And then, there you go, Louis lands another great strike to the head. And I've got to say, if Louis had any weapon other than a candlestick, he might have done a lot more damage to him. The fact it is a candlestick means it's not doing too much damage, and the man-at-arm has been able to recover several times now. But how long can he keep that up? I don't know. The man-at-arm's trying to push him away with the edge of the polearm there, but Louis just gets out and then gets back in. Took a strike there. Manages to dodge that blow. He is being pushed around. Man-at-arm seems to have they're grappling a lot here, and it's hard to tell who's getting the most out of these encounters. But again, the man-at-arms finds himself backed up against the fence. He's trying to swing the other way maybe to get a strike because he just can't with the fence in his way. He's really going to have to figure out his game plan here, because so far Louis the Knight is controlling this fight. Both sides throwing kicks. And Louis takes a big strike to the head there. It was more of the shaft than the tip of the polearm though, so he avoids the worst of the damage. And it's that strike. Louis with the sharp end of the candlestick finds a gap in the armpit of the man-at-arms, and he gets through, and it looks like that arm might be compromised now. I'm not sure exactly where the strike landed, but that arm seems to be limp. I'm not sure if it's broken or if it's just a stab wound causing immeasurable pain. But the man-at-arms here, he's not going to be able to use the polearm anymore. He really should swap weapon. He takes a big strike to the head there. He's not going to be able to swing that thing at all. He's down to his knees now. And Louis the Knight is just not letting up. He's being relentless with this pressure. He's now grabbed him by the chest, throwing him around, keeping him unstable, keeping him off balance. And the man-at-arms is down on his knees. He's having to lean on his polearm to even stay up, and he's stumbling around here. It's not looking good for him. He's putting out no offense at all. He's just trying to walk around to find something. I don't know what he's looking for. But it's not there for him. This is now going to be a completely one-sided beatdown. The man-at-arms needs to drop that polearm. He needs to pull out his sword with the one arm that is working. He's now turning around. I'm not sure if this is him trying to surrender, or maybe we should call the fight. He needs to show something here. He needs to show some offense. Looked like he tried to lift the polearm there, but it just didn't work out. He's just backing up again and again. He throws a kick. He's clearly still trying to win this. He seems very confused though. Takes another strike. It feels to me that Louis is now just playing with his food. He knows the man-at-arm poses no threat to him whatsoever. And he is just swinging, swinging, swinging. He's taking his time. He's almost making a joke of the men-at-arms, who are multiple-time champions in the Half-Sword Championship. I can't imagine what this man-at-arms brothers are thinking as they watch this. And oh my god! Louis has decided to end the fight, and he does it by just stabbing that sharp end directly into the eye of the man-at-arms. What a brutal end to a brutal fight, and Louis the Knight showing once again he is the most violent, the most aggressive fighter on our roster. Ooh, okay, into the final fight of the evening. We have the Dark Knights versus the Plancon Triplets. The Plancon Triplets here, they're glad to be the underdogs. They fought the Dark Knights before, they're big fans of them. They almost won last time. It was an incredibly good fight, it was incredibly close, but the Dark Knights managed to edge it out on them then. And this time the Dark Knights, they think they'll walk through the Triplets. They've said they have their number, they know what to do, they know how to win. And they're excited to make their first defense of this new championship era. They've even got new shields to showcase it. Let's see how it goes. Now, the reason why the fight was so close last time is because the range of the Plancon Triplets is insane, and against the short-ranged shield and axe of the Dark Knights, they really prosper. And you can see already they've landed some good strikes to this Dark Knight, and they just isolate them. Because of their numbers advantage, they can have 2 fighters on 1 Dark Knight, they go either side of them, and the Dark Knight usually just doesn't know where to go. So for the Dark Knights, they're going to have to get past that Plancon, they're going to have to rush in, using their shield to block and try and stab away, because the Plancon Triplets, they don't have armor. They have very little armor on their chest and core, and the Dark Knights should just be able to get through. If they can get past that armor, they can put them down relatively easy. But that's easier said than done, and what's that in the back there? It looks like one of the Plancon Triplets landed a massive couple of strikes in succession on the Dark Knight in that 1v1, and the Dark Knight has gone down to his knees. He gets pushed over, he is now on the floor. Is this one Dark Knight down already? Surely not. It is. He has surrendered. We now have only a minute into this fight, and we are now down to 1 Dark Knight versus 3 Plancon Triplets. And that Dark Knight, he's lost his axe. He's swinging with his fist. What is happening? The Plancon Triplets have come out in insane fashion. He's down. He's fallen over. Surely that's not the fight done already. I don't believe it. I don't know what that Plancon Triplet is doing over there. The Dark Knight has managed to get back up. He's pulled out his dagger instead of his sword. He has no idea where he is. He's stumbling all around. And the Plancon Triplets have not let up. They are just striking again and again and again. Are we about to see a new champion already? Are the Dark Knights about to lose their first defense against the Plancon Triplets? Are the number 4 ranked Plancon Triplets about to be the champions of the Half Sword Championship? I don't believe what I'm seeing. He's all over the place. How has this fallen apart for them so quickly? Just as I was explaining how the Dark Knights can win this fight, they just fell apart. He's taken another massive strike to the head there. Another massive strike. The Plancon Triplets are so fast today. They are swinging with unbelievable speed and then landing on the head more often than not. Again and again and again, there's 3 of them on him now. I just don't see him having any chance here. That wouldn't be the first time I've said this about the Dark Knights, and they've proved me wrong, but he has no idea. He's a brutal couple of hits. They just keep hitting him in succession. They're poking him, hitting him on the head, hitting him on the neck. Oh my god. He's down, he's down, he's down. He's done. That's a fight over. 2 strikes in succession, 1 to the head and then 1 to the back of the neck, and another on his head as he's falling, and he's down. The Plancon Triplets with an absolute clinic. The Dark Knight in the back, it looks like he's shivering, he's cowering in the corner. His arm is shaking, and the Plancon Triplets haven't stopped hitting. Oh my god. What an incredible fight. I'm in complete shock. I have no idea what to say. I really didn't expect that. The underdogs have come through. And I think the Dark Knight in the back, he's in complete shock himself. But say hello to your new champions. The Plancon Triplets are the champions of the Half Sword Championship. They'll be receiving their belts soon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this absolutely insane card. A lot of surprises here today, a lot of great fights. But thank you so much for watching. A massive shout out to the channel members, Ball and Colin, Toru and Schlub. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye.